Hey everybody, how we doing? It's me, Alan Chisa, managing editor at the IHHBA, Indigenous Hip Hop Business Association. So welcome to my tracks for D-Day. Let's see how we do. It's been a long week, and it's been a lot of madness has been going on. Rich and I've been playing cat and mouse game this whole week. He's been in one place, I've been in another, and so we've been kind of running around each other trying to catch up on what's going on. And then he hurt himself a little bit, so he's a little bit slacking on his wordplay for the day, but understandable. I totally get it. So gotta keep something going. So media day continues on. So he and I had a nice little text conversation to kind of keep up with where things are going and whatnot. So things are happening, things are moving, things are going really good. And despite all of our running around and our heatedness, he was in the studio earlier this week too, laying down some new tracks and things. So good stuff. You should be hearing some different things from his hip hop personality, right? Richie Ledreagle. So you should be hearing some things coming out from that. Um, Also, I want to turn your attention to the website. IHHBA.org, IHHBA.org. Nice things are going up on there, every day, and lots of postings, lots of things are happening. So you're obviously here on our Substack watching it, so that's really good. Thank you very much. And make sure you're following, subscribing, sharing, and commenting, on all the works and things that we're doing, because things are just moving and shaking and happening in that regard. Um, the reason I was drawing your attention to the website is because, well, you can check it out here too. But with the website, you have all the past episodes of our podcast, and we're going to be actually starting up once Rich and I narrow it down. Looking at least a Spotify podcast channel that'll be copied over from the ones we do here weekly on Substack, and then hopefully Apple Podcasts as well. So we're going to be looking into that to make sure and see if our platform is going to be able to start expanding. But I'm giving you the tease now. We actually have a guest artist. Our first guest artist coming up on the next podcast is going to be happening, and that's this week, this Sunday. So you're going to want to be, aware and alert and see when that one comes out. We do it in the afternoon. We record it in the afternoon, and I post it, as soon as it's done. So you'll be seeing it by midday on Sunday. Definitely, because it looks like I may have to be checking out of town for the rest of the day. So I want to make sure I get it up and published and everything, for people right before it goes out. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be really good. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but if you follow us on all of our social media, and if you go to the ihhba.org, all of our links and everything are up there. So that's for Blue Sky, LinkedIn, Instagram, our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook page, and stuff is just moving right there. We still got to get that TikTok one taken care of. He and I are both wrestling with TikTok. They just haven't been nice to us yet. But in any case, our next featured artist is going to be coming up, and we're going to be doing a special. I'm giving away lots of little things right now, aren't I? Yeah, the person who's going to be featuring on our podcast is actually going to be our featured artist coming up in August. So you got the cat out of the bag. You twisted my arm a little bit, but it's not too hard to do. So it should be a fun one. So it's going to be really good. This is our first time, having somebody guest, on the podcast, and we've talked about it, and we had to kind of align it and get it going. And in the last episode, so check it out, because if you followed us on any of our social media, the post went out today. Um, Excuse me, the link went out today, posting back to the old podcast, the last episode that we did. And if you check it out here on Substack, you can also find it in our posts and in the listings that we have, because we do them once a week, and we talked about who we wanted to bring on. So if you go and check it out, you'll be able to kind of see it here. There. So let's get into the tracks for today. As you can kind of tell, I'm just dragging. I'm barely making it through where we are, at this point in time, in what's happening. So with that, I found some people that are just kind of like hitting the exact same emotional atmosphere that I'm in. And like it says in the comments, I appreciate an artist who's able to kind of take things in a mellow accord. So The tracks for today are actually going to be quite mellow, a little bit more subdued than what I would like to do. But I'm following up with what I did last time with Youngsta CPT, and then I also dropped T Ironcloud down below as well, so you can check out his stuff. He's got some really interesting things, and he's a cat that definitely flew under the radar. Not somebody that you would call out or draw. It's not like a first, like I said, it's like a go-to track or anything like that. But his stuff is really, it's nice. I mean, it's very roots oriented. I gotta say that. He's very very connected to his tribal to his tribal ways, which is also kind of along the same lines as Native Ace, who we're featuring right now as our featured artist on the IHHBA. He's finishing up this week, and then we pick up the next featured artist. But I mean, Native Ace does exactly the same thing. His is a little bit more upfront, where T Ironcloud, his is just a little bit behind. I mean, it's not behind in time, but it's just a little bit more relaxed. It's got a little bit more of a settled in kind of a nature. So that's kind of cool. And then you definitely hear in his language how he wrestles with some of the English that's in there. So that lets you know he's definitely bilingual. In that accord. So it's kind of cool. There's some subtleties in there. So take a listen to that track, because I'm not gonna play it on this one, but I drop it in there. And as you see, I kind of do that, just to give you something that we talk about for a quick moment, and then some other ones, that you can follow up on and listen to. So. I have an idea of what I want to do for the next one, but I'm going to be having to follow it up on what I do with some of the articles that we have going on. So once I get that up, then I'll be able to kind of drop some other people, and I get a little bit more energy. So let's take a listen to Youngster CPT, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. So Okay. So it's such a good track. I had to let it play for a little bit. The intro is so important, and you can tell. He's actually he's giving props to his mentor, and in his side of it, but it just hits very nice. It's eloquent. I mean, the tracks that are inside of it. I like the use of the children's voices underneath because it kind of gives that eternal kind of a sense and feeling, But also then it situates and contextualizes him as he places himself in that lineage that he's coming out of, and the people that helped him and really placed him, on the stage where he's at. But also, this is contrary to the other works that he has done where he's bouncing all over. I mean, there's another really really nice one that I wanted to play, but it's got a little bit too much profanity, so finding the exact spot is a little bit tricky. Where he gives props to the gangster culture that he comes from, and he goes right back to it, and the video is striking, because he's there and he's with the OGs, and and they're mixing it up, and you see him, and he's actually wearing an orange jumpsuit in that video. So it's like it's not a prison outfit that he's wearing, but it's like it definitely signifies back to that. So he contextualized it, and he's got that, and then with some of the other guests that he's brought on, and he does some cameos with. I mean, then those just jump into like the whole misogyny, pop hip hop, kind of an element, where they're all bullying and and being chic and bougie and whatnot. And then he has this one, and he does some other things that are conscious. It's just like, man, he's all over the place with what he does. So he reminds me a lot of like Classified, who's a Canadian hip hop artist, because he does the same thing. And Classified though has been very upfront, especially with him having to go through some of his substance abuse problems and whatnot. I mean, he brings it right out, and lays it on the table. But with Youngster's CPT, you hear that. I mean, you hear the mourn that's in there. You really feel the emotion that he brings through. And the thing I really like about him is exactly that. He's not hiding behind anything. He's extremely transparent. He's upfront. He lays it out what it is, regardless of the style. And I like an artist that's able to let himself morph and to articulate these different senses and frames and vernaculars that he works in, because he's showing not a dynamic, but what he's showing is that who he is, where he comes from, what he does, and the relevance of his work in the modern contextual canon of hip hop culture. I mean, you would call him, he's a South African artist, and I have to correct myself. I said last time that he was an Anglo. That he was a Dutch, and he's not. He's mixed. He's mulatto, but he's definitely not a Dutch. He's not from Dutch ancestry. So I have to correct myself on that one. A little bit of research and a little bit of probing, pulled that one out. So I think I was shooting from the hip a little bit too fast that way. The gun got away from me. But in any case, his the profile that he expresses and that he brings forward is just, it's nice to see, and it has somebody who's relevant, who's current, who's doing that, and on the global hip hop stage to make that happen. It's he's almost poetic in that sense, and I mean it in the pure sense of the word poema, where it's not that he's having to stick to one sense and discourse. He allows himself and the changes in his character and his time to really kind of sift and to follow and to come through. The music, the background with it, the landscape works right on point. It's really nicely well done. It doesn't get in the way. I mean, it really follows along the lines of what trap hip hop would be, where the beat doesn't get in the way, but it's still there. It's very prominent. The echoing, like we mentioned, with the children's voices, the reminiscent, the haunting, nature of it, but also the innocence that it brings forward. I mean, he's got a lot of different layers that are happening in this simple track, all at once. So I wanted to bring him up. I wanted to share him, and like I said, I'm just beat today. So having something, that I could fall back on and just kind of enjoy for a moment. This is a little bit different and a divergent from where we are. That's really cool. So I have some other things lined up in the canon that I'll be able to start sharing next time. All right. Thank you very much. It's me, it's Alan Chusa, the managing editor at the Indigenous Hip Hop Business Association. Blood, sweat, and pray every single day. No track left unheard. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you all very soon.